Okay, let's pick up from where we left. Sorry, let's pick up from where we left off. And the next competition I want to make is going to feed into Tournament Zero. So we're going to have everything higher numbers go toward Tournament Zero. I want to do a two-team knockout that the winner qualifies for Tournament Zero. So essentially, we go from what we'll call Tournament One into Tournament Zero, having the winner of Tournament One qualify for Tournament Zero. Still two-team knockouts, so a total of three teams will be playing here. So let's go to competitions. Let's add a new competition. We're going to call this Tournament 1. Tournament 1. Tourney 1. This time we're going to use a nice brown and pink. This is going to be a brown and pink tournament. Lovely. So, next we go back to the advanced rules. Now that we've already defined one tournament set, we have something of a template that we can use for subsequent tournament sets. So, the Tournament 0 is a two-team knockout style tournament. Tournament 1 is going to be a two-team knockout style tournament. Just duplicate it. Nice and easy. No big problems. But let's look at some quirks of how that works. So now I've got three rule sets in here. International competitions, which defines my competitions. Then I've got Tournament 0 listed 2 times. Weird, right? And then when we go up here, we've only got Tournament 0 listed. So the show rules for is only going to show us tournaments, and it's going to group the tournaments. So right now, because we duplicated, we've got 2 instances of Tournament 0 rules that would conflict with one another. Let's just go in to one of the 2 sets because they're identical right now. Tournament 0, go to General, and then redefine this. So we'll go to Tournament 1. Delightful. So now we've got a Tournament 0 and a Tournament 1. Other problem, though, is that notice international competitions is 1. We also have to go into the list, go to international competitions, go to competitions, and add our new competition. That's a completely necessary step. You cannot miss that. Very nice. So now we got a rule set. We've got our international competitions with 2 competitions set, 2 rule sets, which is Tournament 0 and Tournament 1. In our drop down here, we've got Tournament 0 and Tournament 1. And then if we look at Tournament 0 or Tournament 1, each one of them has the same setup. International competitions, Tournament 0. International competitions, Tournament 1. Everything is nice and well set up for us to move to the next phase. Now, I want to go to Tournament 0, and I actually want to think about its dates for a second. So the setup date, I think of April 8th is fine, but we need to now think about when we're going to draw this competition. When am I going to have it go and look for the teams to play in the competition? So to do that, I want to go to. Let me just think for a moment. I'm going to change the date range to December, January because I'm doing a single year calendar here. Season update day, I told you all for international, I pretty much always do 31st of December. The setup date, the base year for dates, all that's final, or fine. That's all set up well. Teams, rounds. Okay. I think we're going to draw it right here, right here. So the draw date for this, I want to move the date of this competition back a little bit. We're going to put Tournament 0 because it's going to be the kind of terminus of our entire season. We're going to put it in, let's say, November. So we're going to have it play November 1st, and we'll have everything kind of lead. Oh, no, this is the final. So we're going to have this play, how about Boxing Day? So December 26th of 2000. Terribly fictional, but it's all right. So we should draw the final then a little bit before that. I would say if we're going to play the final on Boxing Day, or really the Tuesday around the Christmas holiday, then we're going to want to draw this probably. I bet you we'll be playing the semifinal somewhere around the 22nd of December. And so you can usually do the draw like that night at let's call it 23:59 if it'll let us. I think it's going to default to 45. Yeah, it does 45-minute chunks. So 23:45. So as long as the semifinal is done by that time, then we're good. So Tournament 0 is going to end up being played at the end of December. And but the setup date, you know what? Just for testing purposes, I'm going to draw this a lot earlier because we don't want to simulate all the way to December just to test it. But if I was doing this actual competition, I'd push this back to December. For now, we're going to set this in May because we're playing the competition in May. And I just want to speed up when it shows us things. So Tournament 0 right now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it alone. So notice that we're still just grabbing 2 random national teams. Let's now look at the dates for Tournament 1. Tournament 1 is the earlier competition in the calendar. So it's set up date of April the 8th. Season update day, December 31st, like I said before. Do January to December. No offset. Stages are fine. That's fine. Number of teams is fine here. Teams is fine here for now. Okay, so I'm going into round 0, which is the only round of the competition. I'm going to tweak when it draws this one. I think we're going to draw this on the 9th of April. If I can type. And we could do that at 23:45. Okay. We'll play the competition on the 9th of May. Very nice. So, right now, I just want to show you this. Right now, we have 2 distinct competitions, both getting different national teams to participate. 2 random national teams for each competition played at different times of the year. So let's just look at that in game really quickly, just so that I can prove that that's what's happening at the moment. Because what we're going to end up needing to do is changing which teams get drawn and how to get them from the qualifiers. So that's what we'll be working on as this thing is loading in just a moment. I feel like OBS has been fighting me. This will be loading in for just a moment. I hate that it does the double loading thing. Let me see if I can fill the airtime by talking about something else in the editor just for a moment. So, if you ever end up wanting to rank teams like by their world ranking for international matches, don't forget that down here at the very bottom, this additional helper, you got to go to enable that, add that. There are a bunch of different kinds of helpers, but once you set up this helper, if you go into miscellaneous, there's one down here called National Team World Ranking Sort Rule. It's just an additional rule set that it needs to be able to do that properly. And if you don't do that, then you'll often find that some of the best teams end up getting paired against each other in group stages and such. So that's a good little thing to kind of throw in there now. I also want to show, because it took me a while to realize this, if you like the way that a page is set up and you know you're going to want to copy the way that that page is set up in another competition, under this edit section, you can go to copy additional helpers, and it will try to grab everything that it can for this competition. And then let's say I'm also going to potentially want that in here. Go ahead and add it in here. For international play, I add it to every international competition that I'm using, because I often need to sort by that rule, and if I don't need to, it doesn't really do anything. It just sits there. I haven't seen any performance problems with it, so just in case, I try to just go ahead and add it to every single one of them by default. So that's a little tidbit. Back to Football Manager. Here we go. Man, Torian Moon Sammy, I miss you. You were a legend. He won the Barbados. Well, he got promotion in his first season from the Barbados Second Division. Then, by his third season, he'd won the Barbados First Division and had just taken a job as the manager of the St. Kittian national team when I decided to start working on editing again. But I miss him. Dude was good. 3 seasons, a promotion, a top 4 finish in the top division, winning the league. It's very good. Very, very good. Okay, so we've got under our international competition, we've got Tournament 0, Tournament 1. Tournament 1 is going to pull South Korea and Jamaica in, and it's going to be played on the 5th of May. Beautiful. Tournament 0 has already been drawn, which is interesting, and it's going to be played on the 23rd of December. Notice that's a Tuesday. The 23rd of December of 2025. You hear that? 2025, not 2026. Why? Go back for just a second. Why is that 2025 instead of 2026? We gave it an update day of Tournament 0, December 31st, and we gave it a setup day of the 8th of April 2000. So it's saying it's set up for the next competition, but it has not drawn it yet, because if you go back to the draw date, we have the draw date set as the 22nd of May of 2000. So what we're actually looking at here is last year's competition. It set it up as last year's competition, and I don't believe it has. No, it has. No, it hasn't. This is Serbia, Denmark. Still showing up as Serbia, Denmark. So it's set up for this year, but it has not drawn this year's competition. I think on the 22nd or thereabouts, it's going to draw this competition, and we'll see something different than Serbia, Denmark. Let's just test, just to make sure. We're on the 20th. That's of April. We need to go all the way to May. It goes fast, though. We've got a really small database. But notice 4 different teams, right? Serbia, Denmark, Jamaica, somebody else. I can't remember. But it was 4 different teams. So let's go to May, roughly 23rd. Am I correct that it will now draw 2 more teams? Tournament 0? Ooh, it hasn't yet. Interesting. And that's showing up blank, which is weird. Huh. Gonna give it a few more days. Monday the 22nd. Pardon me. It's very interesting that it's not drawing this competition again. I want to stop sneezing. Then I want to look at, this is a good thing to test. Why is it not drawing this competition? Season 2025, Serbia, Denmark, current season. I wonder what happens if we now go to the update day, which is December 31st. So let's go to January 1st. It's going to take a second. I'll show you the editor while I'm looking through some of that. Because my current hypothesis is that it set this up for 2025. And so it's now thinking of this as the 2025 season. And the 2025 season has not yet hit a December 31st for the first time. Therefore, it doesn't put anything in 2026. So it's going to take a second to test all that, but that's what I think might be going on. But it's certainly something that we want to get sorted out before we progress. So rather than aiming so far into the future, I think one of the things that I'm going to change is I'm not going to push it all the way back to December just yet. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer in time. We can always walk it back later. So if we draw it on May the 22nd, we could play the competition by June the 22nd, save ourselves some of this really slow loading time or testing time. But I am still running that in the background while I'm making some of these changes. This should be fine. So the setup date, April 8th, 2000. The draw date. Really the only difference is that I added the draw date, which was May 22nd. It's very interesting that that tripped it up so much. The simulator's still going. It's just in July at the moment. We're going to look at some other things while we're at it. Okay. We also did change the January-December thing. So it's possible that's happening. Because we had it, I think, like to April to May or something like that. So that's always interesting. Actually, that's probably my next hypothesis. But again, it should be loading this just like it did for the other competition. Tournament 1 loaded just fine. So that's fascinating. But you see how quickly things can go akimbo, right? All I did was change a couple of dates, and all of a sudden, it's a bit broken, right? Like it's actually broken. So typically, you want to make one change at a time, and test that one change, and then kind of go back from there. So perhaps lesson learned. Okay, we are done simulating. I just want to see what it did. So my initial hypothesis was that I never hit another date. So this would schedule us in 2027, if I'm right about that. But I've got my suspicions about that hypothesis. This match will be scheduled on 17th of May, 2027, and played on the 21st of December, 2027. When I go into stages, my hypothesis is that I will have a 2025 competition and then skip to 2027. So there will be nothing in 2026, which is the case, and not the desired behavior. So it's a question of why it actually skipped it. And I want to see if the changes I just made will get it to play a competition in 2026. So very quickly, this is just off screen because it's just going to take a second. I'm sorry, you're staring at a blank screen. I'm going to save. I'm going to test the rules. Rules are valid. I'm going to save again, and we'll load Football Manager. And if this doesn't, if this does work, then I just want to slowly walk the dates back so that I get a better understanding of why things like this are happening, because I run into this quite often. Competitions don't really show up where I want them to, and it bugs me because I want more control over exactly when things are played. I want a deeper understanding of that. So I'm glad that we're working on this to some degree, especially in a small tournament format, because I want to make sure to get this figured out. Sorry, we're staring at loading screens. But I don't really want to edit a video. And so far, we've done this in one take. So I wouldn't need to edit anything. And then I'm going to leave the sneeze in, so suppose we'll watch a loading screen while I reflect on why I don't want to edit. Because I hate editing. I have to do way too much of it. It's not fun. Even though Premiere Pro works quite nicely. We'll figure this out. We'll be all right. Okay, we should just about be loaded now after it's done its little two-phase thing. So let's load back into the career. Torian Moon Sammy is a legend, as we've described. Do the small database. Here we go. And set up our database. You can start unemployed, start the game, begin the career, and skip the autosave, which I should pay attention to. It drops me on the 13th of April. Okay, so now if we are checking, then Tournament 0, this round will be drawn on the 18th of May of 2026. It shows us that Tonga and Aruba played last year, and that on the 18th of May, it's going to draw this competition. So let's get to the 18th of May and make sure that we've got other competitors. Now, we didn't change the draw date here, as far as I recall. Right? We just changed the date that it's being played. So if they're drawing it on April 9th, so why is it pushing? In the editor, we said that we wanted to draw the competition on the 9th of April, but it's not actually drawing the competition until the 18th of May, which is interesting. It's waiting on something. What is it waiting on? Why is it waiting on something? We've got the 8th of April, 2000 for the setup day. We don't have any dependencies right now. So why is it waiting? Match 1, 9th of May. It's interesting. There's no good reason for it to wait. It doesn't depend on anything. What is the significance of the 18th of May? I don't think there is any. Okay, it should now have drawn the competition according to itself, and it did. South Sudan plays Curacao. So it is drawing the competition appropriately, but again, why is it waiting all the way until May to do that? I would say that's an open question. We're going to go back to OBS. We're going to go back to the editor for a second. I just want to look around at a couple of things and see if I can spot anything that talks about May. Discipline rules, qualified teams get random national teams. They all get the same seeding. Ranking rules, ranking level info. The helpers. This is now December to January. The setup date is April 8th. It's an international final. Ooh, this is tournament 1. Let's go back to tournament 0 because I'm looking at the wrong thing. April 8th. Okay. Yeah. I was looking at the wrong competition. There it is. Okay, so we set the draw as the 22nd of May. It found the nearest Monday that it could find, which in this case would be the 18th, and it drew it for this year. So that's what's going on. I was looking at the wrong competition. Very nice. And then it's going to play the competition on the 22nd of June, which is correct. Sorry, 1 second, I'll show you. Let's just make sure that that's what's happening. So I went into South Sudan, who's playing in the tournament. They're playing in Tournament 0. Tournament 0 is going to be played on the 19th of June, which is a Friday. Okay. It was going to be 22nd of June, which is a Thursday, but it put it on the Friday instead. Close enough. So where do we want to go from here? I think I do want to test that I can get this to play when I want it to. No, I don't. I don't care. Because for now, we should just test what we're trying to test, which is getting one team to show up in the other team's block. So, okay. We got our dates thing figured out now. This is appropriately drawing and then scheduling the match and playing the match. So we're good on that front. When in doubt on dates, I think try to unify things so that all your competitions are starting in the same years and ending in the same years, and then slowly walk them back to the spot that you want them at, setting the, essentially the draw date after the last competition and the competition itself being played as close to the draw date as possible to begin with, and then you could slowly walk this back over time. I could put this in December now, and I bet you it would play. But anyway, we're going to leave that. We're going to leave the timing for now. Let's talk about a couple of different things. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to Tournament 1, which is our feeder league, and I want to change the way that it's grabbing teams. I don't really like using this qualified teams thing. I just find that the additional step often means that we end up losing something along the way or running into some problem along the way. There are times when it's useful. I don't usually like to use it. So I'm going to clear out the qualified teams list, uncheck it. I'm going to get rid of the number of qualified teams. And I like to go into the stage itself, find the team section itself, and just pull the teams here. This is usually where I like to do it. But that's a lesson in the fact that we've got options generally. So maximum number of teams, get random national team. So that's fine. So I have this set as get random national team, get me 2 random national teams, and get it directly in the stage itself. That's all we're doing here. So that's what I'm doing in Tournament 1. In Tournament 0, what I want to do is something slightly different, which is, so firstly, go to the qualified teams, get rid of them from here, go into the stage itself, go to teams, and I want to clear this list. And I want to get teams in 2 different ways. The first is I'm going to tell it to just get a specific team. Algeria is fine with me. That's fine. We'll just start with Algeria. It just defaults to Algeria. If you did want to change it, you just go down here. By the way, if you want to get their U23 team, then you go to team type here, and then you could get their U23 team here. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to use specific team, Algeria. That's the first team. Algeria is always going to play in Tournament 0. How do we get the other team from the other competition? We want to get the winner of competition of Tournament 1. We want to get the winner of Tournament 1, right? Add, and we're going to use get cup round teams. We've got a lot of options here, and many of them are relevant. But in this case, we want to get cup round teams. Again, select as little as possible. I do need to tell it what competition to look at. So this is going to be Tournament 1. What competition is this team coming from? Right? We don't need to fill out nation. We don't need to fill out continent. I do need to tell it to only give me 1 team. And I need to tell it what stage. What the hell stage do I pick? Go back to Tournament 1. There are 2 different ways that you can refer to the stage. The first is by the stage ID, and the second is by its index. I usually don't like to call the stage IDs numbers. I like to give it a name. In this case, I usually use a short undercased indicator of what it is. Fin, final, fin. Or if it was like a knockout stage, I use KNO. Or if it was a league stage, I use league. Or if it was a group stage, I use GRP. In this case, it's a final, so I'm going to use fin. Its index is 0. I always reference off the index. It's just my preference. In case I typoed something, in case I missed something, 0 is a number, it's a number, it's a number. I can just reference 0, and it's going to follow the same progression every time. So generally, finals are going to fall in about the place that I expect them to. So Tournament 1 has 1 stage, index of 0, stage ID of fin. Tournament 0, just for consistency, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go ahead and update this to fin. And if I'm back at Tournament 0, grabbing a team, I'll go to Get Cup Round Teams from Tournament 1, and I need to tell it what stage to get it from. I've got the options of typing fin here, and I think that works. But if you have spaces or anything's changed in terms of casing, I don't know if it works. I do know that putting just the index, 0, does work. And I still need to tell it what round to get them from. Rounds should have names. So let's go back to Tournament 1. Let's go to our stage. We're at stage 0. Let's go to our rounds. And notice I didn't give it a name. So this is going to fail. You need to name your rounds. 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 Name your rounds. The round is going to be called final. This is a short list of 286 predefined names for rounds. You'll find over time the ones that you like. For the final of a cup competition, I always use final. So, Tournament 0. I need to get the team from, notice the abbreviation. I want you to find a cup round team from tournament 1. I need you to get me one of those teams from stage 0, index 0, and the round is final. At this point, it will get me a team, but it will just get me a random one of the 2 teams. So the last thing you need, I just tested this earlier today, it will get you a random winner. Well, it'll get you a random competitor, if you will. It'll get you a random team from the final, sometimes the loser. You have to go into team and leave it as winning team. Okay? So now we're set up. Algeria is going to play the winner of tournament 1. All's hunky dory, right? I wouldn't be surprised if I get an error here. I also might be fine because I didn't do the team definition, the number of teams definition. Here we go. Can't find enough teams to be created. 1 team found, but I need 2. What are you talking about? I defined 2. Use Algeria. Use the winning team of the finals at the tournament. It's there. What are you talking about? Do it. Just do it, right? Let me show you something. If I was to define a second team here, let's say Morocco. This is going to work. What the hell? I've named 3 teams. I only need 2. Why is that working? Because it's not pulling anyone here. It's not getting a team from this cup round. Why not? I told it to. Why isn't it doing it? You're missing one very important thing under stages, stage 0, requirements. You need to tell it to make sure that that other competition is done before it tries to make this one. Every time, always. I used to think you had to put the stage in there, but I'm almost certain you don't. So here's a little test for that. I think this is going to fly. I think this is going to work. Bob's your uncle. So now, as Football Manager is loading, I'll just talk through that one more time. Just what was happening there. When you define your teams, you have a concept for which teams you're going to pull. You need to get the correct teams defined, but then you also have to make sure that those tournaments are done, and not just done in terms of dates, but done in terms of the way that the game thinks about the tournaments themselves. And the way that you can assure that that is happening is that you list it under the requirements. I require you to finish tournament 0 and then get teams. That way, I know I've got a team in this slot, and I know I've got Algeria, so I know I have 2 teams, and we're ready to go. That's what's going on there. So just to outline this again, Tournament 1, we have 2 teams pulled directly into the stage. Get me 2 random national teams. I don't know who they're going to be. Tournament 0, we've got 2 more teams, but one of them is Algeria. It's always Algeria. I've decided it's going to be Algeria. The second one is going to be the winner of the first tournament, and I demand of you to make sure that oh, hey, look, I made a mistake. Look, this should be tournament 1. So now I have to start reloading. Now I have to reload it. I have to make sure that tournament 1 is finished before scheduling tournament 0. I think what that would have done if I had left it at tournament 0, I think it would have finished playing tournament 0 and then scheduled, and it just happened to be that tournament 1 was done when it was testing it. So it said, yeah, sure, fine. But that's not what we were actually trying for. So that probably would have worked and still been wrong. The requirement is that the other tournament has to be finished. Not this one. The other tournament has to be finished. And then I can load this one. So let's switch back to Football Manager, stare at a loading screen, and see how far we can get. Loading. Start a new career, advanced setup career. By the way, I picked Finland because it is latest in the save that I could find so far. It started in April of 2026, so I want to get as deep into it as I can. That's why I picked Finland. I think there's maybe one in July or something like that, but I do still want to play the summer dates, so that's why I picked Finland. It was closest to the time period that I wanted to test. Okay, we're going to start unemployed with Torian Moonsamy, legend. We want to first look at Tournament 0, which is supposed to get Tournament 1, which is supposed to get me 2 random national teams, which it did. That was in 2026, right? May 5th of 2026, they're going to play this match, which is just in a little bit. It's Belize and Antigua and Barbuda. So, May 5th, they should play that. Let's actually go ahead and look at Tournament 1 just to look, or Tournament 0 just to look at it. It says I'm going to schedule this on the 5th of May. Ooh, that's cutting it close. Oh, no, that's correct because it's the evening of the other match finishing, I think. Let's check that. Tournament 1 plays on the 5th at 7 o'clock. So they finish around 8 or 9, and then the draw is going to happen at almost midnight. So that should be great. Let me just check one more thing in Tournament 0. Tournament 0. Notice it's got Algeria and France in a past version, so it went ahead and simulated that for us. I wonder if Tournament 1 has that. Tournament 1. Boop. Yeah, France played Bermuda last year, made it to Tournament 0. When they got to Tournament 0, they played Algeria. So very nice. The same thing should happen again in May of this year, 2026. So we'll go ahead and go through with that. So here's May 4th. And then we simulated everything. So let's take a look, see if Antigua and Barbuda could get the job done. Whoops. Tournament 1, Antigua and Barbuda was indeed able to beat Belize. So when we go to their competition, we should see that they are then playing in Tournament 1. There's the final. They do get scheduled for Tournament 0? Interesting. Where is it? Now it's saying it's going to be drawn on the 18th. So it pushed it back a little bit. Tournament 0. Now it got scheduled. So it tried to schedule it. It didn't have everything it needed, so it just pushed it back and then did it again. To ease that a little bit, we could probably push back the draw date by like a day or so, but it worked fine. And now it's got this scheduled, and it's going to play that match in there it is, on the 8th of July. So there we go. We did it. Everything's fine. It's working. And now we can qualify one team from a previous competition. No problem. All right. I'll leave it there.